What's been your favorite Thanksgiving halftime you've been a part of with the Cowboys?
Beyonce.
Beyonce? Mine too, Jerry.
That was when she was a Destiny Child.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really cold. So they opened up Neiman Marcus and got each one of them a fur coat.
Oh, my
They went out there and did their thing in fur coats.
From Neiman Marcus that morning.
Just kidding. Wow.
It's the One Star Cowboys podcast. It is Thursday, December 26th in the evening when we record this. I'm Kevin Turner. We got John Machota, Saad Youssef, Kent Garrison, all members of the athletic team. The big story of the day, I guess, is the news that CeeDee Lamb is going to be out for the remaining 2 games. First of all, John, I'll let you start. Your thoughts on that, and how would you just size up CeeDee's season?
Yeah, so he wasn't out at practice today, and then he wasn't in the locker room, and he wasn't made available to reporters, and he normally talks on Thursdays. So when all that was going on, it made me think that there might be something heading in this direction. And also, I'm still a little skeptical on the whole, that it's so much worse as opposed to the idea of, well, the season's done. Why have him play these next 2 games, potentially get it to a level where he has to have surgery? Let's end it right now so he can start doing the recovery he needs. He's obviously in a lot of pain. And the reason I bring that up is because I'm not 100% certain if they were in the playoff situation that he would be sitting this out. You know what I'm saying? If there was a chance for them to win games in the postseason, I still think he's playing through this because he still, to my knowledge, was never wearing any type of a harness that would limit any range of motion or anything like that. So they hadn't even gotten to that stage yet. Again, I'm obviously not a doctor, but it wasn't like the shoulder popped out, or it's a sprained AC joint, so he's dealing with a lot of pain there. And so when there's not really anything left to play for in the season, why put him in a spot where it could get worse? And then all of a sudden, then he does have a major injury, then he has to get surgery in the offseason. So I think this is the smart play, avoiding it. But yeah, he got to 1,000 yards again, 4th consecutive season. I don't think I could say it any better than Micah said it in the locker room, where he said CeeDee's quarterback proof. He can put up a 1,000-yard season with Andy Dalton, Dak, Cooper Rush, when a lot of other receivers around the league, when they lose their starting quarterback, that becomes an excuse. Well, I didn't have as good of a season because I didn't have my quarterback. And CeeDee shows you he can put up big numbers with whoever's throwing the football. So, yeah, the Cowboys got one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the league. I think we already knew that. Where you want to rank him in that top 3, that's up to you. But I think it's pretty safe to say that there is a group of him, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase that is the top 3. At least that's how I have them. And he proved that this season. And it wasn't like the shoulder injury just started. He injured his shoulder in the same game where Dak had the hamstring injury. So, this is going on 7-8 games he's played with that. So it says a lot about him. And it also says a lot about, because there was those storylines, with him holding out, how much does he love football, things like that, dumb off-season storylines when there's nothing going on. He obviously cares about football a great deal because he got his contract. So he could have shut this thing down a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't. He wanted to play through it. And so that was probably my biggest takeaway. And then number 2 would just be, man, this could be a real ugly game on Sunday from the receiver position. But that could be a good thing if you're a Cowboys fan, because it could also really show the organization that, hey, when you look at the depth chart of this receiving crew going forward, I think you got to feel real good about it, what you have at 1, probably even 3, 4, and 5. But I don't think that you feel great about what you have as your number 2 receiver, if you even know who that is. And I think that could be something that needs to be addressed rather early in the draft. And I think that might be one of the fruits that come out of these last 2 games is, man, if we were to lose CeeDee during the season, even if it's just for a game or something, we're really in trouble. We need to add something else at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I saw this coming before it was even announced, the way that McCarthy answered the question about CeeDee this morning. He was very much, we'll see, we'll have conversations and things. After Jerry kind of made that a player's choice, McCarthy could have easily... There's just ways that McCarthy, when he answers questions, it was the same thing about Zach Martin. The day before Zach Martin was ruled out, the way he answered Todd Archer's question on Zach, you just knew things were not trending in the right way and it was about to get shut down. It was the same thing this morning when he answered the question about CeeDee. I was like, yeah, after I heard that, I was like, there's no way he's playing again. So I think for CD, the way that the season started, the chemistry with Dak being, such a storyline, the way that he bounced back from all that, and the way that he showed up for Cooper Rush as well, I thought was really, a testament to him. He didn't have to, like John said, he didn't have to play through that injury, but he did. I think this honestly kind of ends the evaluation for me on Cooper Rush as well for this season. Like I'm not really drawing big conclusions about Cooper Rush for whatever he looks like the next 2 games. If he looks like crap, I mean, it's the backup quarterback that's without the number 1 receiver. I mean, what do you expect at this point? But as I wrote after the injury happened, Jalen Tolbert, I mean, he's shown flashes, but it hasn't been consistent. Brandon Cooks most likely will not be back. Jalen Brooks, whatever, Ryan Flanoy, whatever. But to me, this is mostly about Mingo. I mean, you traded a 4th-round pick for him. You need to start seeing something. I know it's a backup quarterback. I know it's a midseason trade. I know this is about the next 2 years. I get all of that. But the dude has not played for more than 30% of the offensive snaps, but 1 time in Dallas. He has 11 targets in 5 weeks, 2 catches for 10 yards. That can't happen now with CD being out as well. I need to see something more from Jonathan Mingo.
Another thing I wanted to add on that is that I seen this thing, and again, it's just because we get the advantage, I guess, of seeing every person's thought on social media and more than I care to see. But I just remember when Diggs went down and Overshown went down, there was a lot of talk of that the team just rushed him back and they did these players wrong and stuff like that. Like, there are just so many examples of that's just not how the NFL is today. I don't believe that at all. I don't care what anybody says. And we're seeing it right now with, heck, go back to the beginning of the season, Deron Bland. Every week it kept going by like, why isn't Deron Bland coming back? I don't know. Why isn't the team just forcing him out there? Because Deron Bland didn't feel comfortable going back out there yet. And that's why it took longer. We're seeing it right now with DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence, remember, it was talked about months ago how he might be able to come back in a few weeks and stuff like that. DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't feel comfortable to come back. Guess what happens? DeMarcus Lawrence isn't on the field. Rico Dowdle, they absolutely needed him. Would have loved for him to be on the field in San Francisco. He wasn't feeling well. He had the temperature. Guess what? Rico Dowdle didn't play in the game. So this idea that they force players out there, I don't know, it's any given Sunday or something like that, and they're just shooting these guys up and I don't get where this stuff comes from. These guys are professional athletes. If they don't feel comfortable going out there, they're not going out onto the field. I'm sorry. So if they suffer injuries and setbacks, you can blame some of the training staff on that. Maybe they didn't prepare them well enough, whatever. It's not an exact world. But the idea that they're just forcing guys out there that aren't healthy, to me, is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and also real quick on that, when guys get hurt, I mean, they seek second opinions and stuff outside of the organization as well. So it's not all even just the team. I mean, we saw that with Dak. We see it with a lot of players. It's not just the medical staff of the team. That's where it begins. You have the MRIs and the team doctors and all that. But guys will go to different places to get outside opinions. Not saying they follow those opinions strictly, but that kind of stuff does happen as well.
Can you just imagine making the money that these guys make nowadays and being like, yeah, sorry, man, coach pressured me to go out there? In what world? In what world?
Yeah. No, I agree. I like Saad's point on Mingo, too. If you look at guys who still have a lot to play for in these last couple of weeks, you're a guy. Cooper Rush, a free agent, he's probably going, well, it'd be nice if I had CeeDee Lamb there. Now, Cooper Rush will probably be back here next year as the backup and
Cooper Rush
around the same money.
Cooper Rush has shown me all I need to see from him, to be honest with you. He's gone 4-1 in his last 5. He rebounded well from the first 2 games that he was out there, especially that ugly game against Philadelphia. I've seen everything I need to see. Now it's a matter of who the coach will be. Does he want Cooper back? How does he fit the scheme and the system? But there's nothing. Cooper Rush can go out there and have 2 stinkers. I know what Cooper Rush is, and that's basically a decent to good backup quarterback in the NFL.
So why do you keep bringing that up, though? Because I just feel like he hasn't done anything that has changed the way I felt about him. I felt like what you're saying, though, was 2022. I've always thought that he was that way.
Well, I mean, for a lot of people, the first 2 games, Philadelphia and Houston, you would have probably thought that you had a problem at backup quarterback and you need another guy. But I think after Philadelphia and Houston, specifically after Philadelphia, where he threw for 45 yards in that game at home, Houston was not great either. I feel like after that, he's really done a lot better to show me enough that, okay, you're good.
You know what, my family, obviously they don't follow the Cowboys as much as we do. The one thing they brought up to me over Christmas was how angry they were that Trey Lance isn't out there.
They can't get over that the Cowboys won't put him out there at this point. And I've explained all the intricate details of that, and they just, for I guess the general public, it's so confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's entertainment. I mean, that's like me being really critical of like a Saturday Night Live skit and KT breaking it down like, well, no, the reason that they do that is because this, and this. And I'm just a novice, so I watch it, but like I don't know the behind the scenes of a lot of that stuff. And I think that's what happens with sports. Because here's the other thing, it's just like, especially like on the holidays and stuff like that, like I think of like Thanksgiving in Michigan. Obviously, it's going to be the same for Dallas Cowboys fans. Like the game's always on. Well, that doesn't mean everybody knows what's going on. And it doesn't mean everybody's gonna know that, like, did you see when, like in the preseason when they played Trey Lance? Well, no, I didn't see that, but I mean, I know they gave up a 4th round pick, so just throw him out there. Like, there's so much more that goes into it. So yeah, it's tough because I mean, it's a big problem I have in life is that I'll get too fired up arguing with somebody that I'm just like, why are you wasting your time? They have no idea what's going on here with behind the scenes or anything like that. But it is one of those deals where I know people like to act like they know what they're saying because it's sports and hey, I watch the team and I said I'm a fan of the team, so I have to know all this stuff. But yeah, I'm telling you right now, like people that know this professionally, they're paid a lot of money. There's a reason that he's not going out there.
John hates my family, I guess.
Well, part of listening, I'm sorry.
Part of that stuff, though, is just the nature of the beast of football. With fewer games, that means there's more talk about it, and more talk equals more noise. And it's just what this is. And like, it's like I was thinking about this. Believe it or not, people, we're going to take it to the future head coach discussion real quick, because I do think like we're so reactive to how a couple games might go. But if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm not loving that CeeDee Lamb's not playing these last 2 games, because if I get smoked 41-10 by Philadelphia and 38-7 by Washington, well, it seems stupid to judge anything off 2 games at the end of a season that you're already out of the playoffs. It looks real bad if there's a chance you're going to be brought back as the head coach.
Well, can I play?
You can't tell me that stuff doesn't cross their mind. It has to. It's their life.
Well, if I'm playing devil's advocate to that point, KT, I almost feel like if you were gonna lose by 25 to Philadelphia with CeeDee and you end up losing by 40, I'm just being you now have carte blanche or whatever to be like, well, I didn't have CeeDee. It's kind of like what this whole season kind of has become.
The excuse.
You were 3-5 with a healthy Dak Prescott, but the season in retrospect will be remembered as like, well, you lost Dak. No, you were really bad with Dak. And by the way, the same holds true for 2020 as well. They were 1-3 with Dak when he got hurt against the Giants. So like it just kind of gives you this like, I hear what you're saying. If you thought they were going to lose by, let's make it more realistic, 10 to 15 points, but they end up losing by 25, McCarthy can be like, well, I didn't have Dak, I didn't have CeeDee, I didn't have Trayvon, I didn't have all this. Where like, so that would just be my point to that.
The other thing is, if I'm McCarthy, one of the things I feel the best about is that I work for this team that does all these documentaries, is got all these tours going on. They're the most visible franchise in all of sports. They have owner that talks twice a week on the radio, an executive vice president talks twice a week on the radio, an owner that talks after every home game, and they're as media friendly as any team is. And this ship was already headed in a very bad direction back in early September, and we're almost at the end of the year, and there hasn't been not one realistic name leaked by anybody of who's going to be the next Dallas Cowboys head coach. Like not one NFL insider, not one locally, nationally, nobody, not through all the agents that all talk to each other. There hasn't been one name. We would do entire shows on it if that name leaked out or anything like that. And so every day that goes by that none of that happens, it just leans you back into he's probably coming back and that they really want him back and that they're not looking for anybody else. Those are the type of things, to me, if I'm McCarthy, that speaks volumes to me, because If I gave you this exact scenario 365 days ago, there's no way you would believe me if I said, yeah.
No.
And they would head into the last 2 weeks of the season and there wouldn't even be a name leaked. Not a name, not one, not like 2 or 3 where it's going to be one of these guys. There hasn't been one name leaked to anybody of who could potentially be their next coach other than Mike McCarthy.
And by the way, real quick on that point too, a lot of people will say, well, it's because Belichick went to North Carolina. Do we really think that Belichick and the Cowboys didn't have conversations before that? The Cowboys said no, so Bill went to North Carolina. I feel like Bill has talked, and his camp have talked to the entire league and didn't get an answer that they would be open to hiring him. So it's not like, oh, Bill chose North Carolina, so they're going to bring McCarthy back. No, the Cowboys probably said no to Bill, or it just didn't work out with how much control he may have wanted, whatever. The Cowboys probably deemed that not to be a good fit, so Bill went to North Carolina, and so McCarthy might be back. It's not like Bill Belichick spurned the Cowboys for North Carolina. Like that there's no world where that would happen either.
Also, by the way, he's a 6-time Super Bowl champion who obviously, Saad, you're very aware of how highly I think of Bill Belichick. So let's pretend I'm the owner of the Dallas Cowboys and how highly I think of Bill Belichick. Why wouldn't I have done that in January? He was available. He wasn't coaching anywhere. Yeah. Okay, fast forward. The season starts going off the tracks. Why wouldn't I just be like, hey, Bill, you're going to be our coach. We'll announce it right now. If Mike doesn't want to coach out the rest of the season, we'll have an interim come in or whatever. Yeah. Bill, you got the job starting at 2025. This is a 6-time Super Bowl winning head coach. This isn't somebody you're like, there's kind of a gray area. We don't really know what this is. It's cut and dry. So if he was ever the guy that they always wanted, this would have been done a long time ago. He clearly was not anybody they were interested in.
Yeah.
Is because I've been critical of McCarthy for a long time, for many different reasons. Have we fooled ourselves into saying, like, is he good? Like, is he like? Should Cowboy fans be happy about this? Should they be like, if he is indeed coming back? Should I mean, because look, you got 3 winning seasons. I don't. For me, I might be too dug in on my stance and have been on him for a while. And maybe I'm not seeing why this is a good idea because it seems obvious to me that a change is needed.
Well,
but I know it's December 26th looks way different than it looked on Halloween.
Yeah, and here's what I'll say from my perspective, KT, as somebody who lived in Dallas my whole life. So as a football fan, I've seen Parcells, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, and Mike McCarthy. And I've never been a Cowboys fan, but you're in Dallas, so I've seen it. Of all of those guys, and Parcells, I was a kid, so I'm going to eliminate Parcells from this discussion. Out of Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, and Mike McCarthy, I actually feel like Mike McCarthy is a good coach. Like, look, I was a teenager. I was whatever, a young adult when Jason Garrett was kind of coming in and all that kind of stuff. And by the end of Garrett's run, I just didn't respect him as a football coach. Like, I didn't believe that he was a good football coach. With McCarthy, and I covered Garrett. 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. 5 years I was around Jason Garrett. With McCarthy, I do feel different. I have more respect for McCarthy as a football mind and a football coach than I did with Jason Garrett. That's the perspective that I have personally. I hear what you're saying, but that's just my perspective as a lifelong Dallasite.
Where do you stand on that, John? I mean, is it just, it's tough, right?
So I do think he's a good coach to have all the wins that he has. And then to have won a Super Bowl, you have to be a good coach. I don't think you can just luck yourself into all of that. I am a little bit in the Ryan Day camp at Ohio State where I understand that they're frustrated that they've lost to Michigan now. I think it's 3 times in a row, maybe 4. I think it's 3. Anyway, I get that, but he's also a good coach. And then you look around, the other part is, what's the alternative? Who are you going to get? And judging by what the Cowboys' criteria will be to hire a head coach, I just don't see anybody that I'd be like, well, no, that's definitely better. Do that. That's of a pure person there. I'm intrigued by the whole Ben Johnson teaming it up with like a Robert Saleh type thing like that. Like, I would be very interested in that. I don't get the sense that they are. I get the sense that they're very much like we talked about before in previous podcasts, where it's like, You're more in the Mike McCarthy, Doug Peterson, John Gruden, who's hoisted a trophy before.
Pete
and
Carroll?
then I'm interested in those guys. But even then, it's like, well, why wouldn't you want Bill Belichick then if that's criteria?
Yeah.
But I think of those older coaches like that have, been to Super Bowls. It seems like what they're looking for. And if that is your criteria, I don't know that you're going to find anybody that's better than McCarthy.
And I get that too.
Oh, Pete
And
Carroll too. Sorry, got to mention.
Yeah, I was just
Pete.
having fun because he's back in the news.
Would you rather do that, KT? Start completely
Absolutely
over?
not. Hell
Okay.
no.
Making
no.
sure.
Yeah. But like, I guess I would simplify it. Like, you can look at all the candidates because it's your job to look at all the candidates. In fact, maybe if you were in a hiring point, you should interview as many of them as you would like. But I think it boils down to this for me. Is change needed? And I think yes.
Yeah. I agree.
And I think that because I saw the team play for the first half of the season. And I can't do Will Jerry. I don't want to do Will Jerry. I'm sorry. Like that can go for anything ever. We got to take Will Jerry out of this. It's a part of the deal. That ain't changing. Guess what? Jerry had kids. Guess what? Jerry's kids had kids. Okay? Like that's who runs the team. The family. So like that ain't changing.
Yeah. I totally with you. I'm fascinated to see how, if he brings McCarthy back, how Jerry's going to justify this to the fans. The entire offseason when they hired McCarthy, Steven talking, at the owners' meetings, combine, about what they were looking for in a head coach was, this team's ready to go. We need someone who can take them to the next level.
Buy into us.
In my opinion, mission failed on why they brought him in here. When you look at the reason he was hired was to take this team to the next level. It hasn't happened. So I'm fascinated to see if they bring him back, how he's going to justify that when the press, people like you, ask, in the opening press conference,
how did you justify this, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, because last year was the big hanging around the rim thing because you felt like, we went 3 years in a row of making the playoffs. You got a whole new set of circumstances. You didn't even make the playoffs. You weren't even really hanging around the rim of making the playoffs. So that's a step back from what it was before. And so, yeah, they'll talk about injuries, I'm sure, and how they just didn't have their team and that they think that this is the best path. They'll probably even bring up hanging around the rim and go back to that again. And the reason I say that is because why wouldn't they? Jerry spent all offseason on at least 5 to 7 occasions really just digging in on this whole all-in thing, and nothing about anything he did in the offseason made you think that they were all in. But he kept saying it over and over again. So what's to make you think that they won't just stick to some talking point that'll go, you didn't even make the playoffs. I thought the hanging around the rim was to try and get to a Super Bowl. Like you're hanging around the rim of finally winning a championship. And I don't know how you think that you're closer to that. So I don't know how that they'll sell it definitively, but they'll come up with some words to say or whatever. But I don't know why anybody would really buy into it, because at the end of the day, nothing that's happened this season has answered any of the questions that we've had from the previous 3 seasons of how are they going to win consistently in January. There's nothing that's happened. I don't care how hard they played against the Bengals or how hard they play against the Eagles this week coming up, or how hard they played against the Panthers or the Bucks. Like, what does that do for me in January football? Like, what have you seen this year that makes you go, you know what? Let's keep going down this path because I think this is the one that's going to get it done in January. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and one other point that I want to make, we don't have to get into this in this episode, but I think this might be a conversation we have to have in a month or so, that if the Cowboys do bring McCarthy back, I still think there's going to be there could be a coaching search, because I'm not sure Zimmer's coming back regardless. Like there's a chance Zimmer just retires and walks away from the game. And if that happens, we could be looking at 3 years, 3 defensive coordinators. You go from Dan Quinn, Mike Zimmer. Now you have to find a 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 years. You might be without a top 3 player, top 3 defensive player for you in DeMarvion Overshown. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's another conversation that has to be had as well, of like, okay, well, McCarthy's back. Now who's running the defense and is there going to be a new system? Is there going to be another adjustment for 8 to 10 games like there was this year without DeMar Vion overshown in your camp and all this conversation? So I mean, when you talk about even bringing McCarthy back, there could still be turnover on the coaching staff.
I think that at that point, Saad, you just got to let Micah coach the defense.
He'll recruit. You know what he'll do? He'll play GM. He's going to get the Cowboys to trade up, get Abdul Carter from Penn State, get a Penn State coach to come run the defense, and just go from there.
Speaking of draft, Tankathon has the Cowboys at 15 right now. So just for all you drafters, we did get a question from the Discord I did want to throw out there. Your thoughts on the 2023 draft class? Actually, that would have been the 2024 draft class.
Yeah.
So you're talking about this year's rookies?
Yeah, this year's draft, yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
Not great on Guyton.
Cooper Beebe's the only one.
But in Neyland, if he didn't get hurt, I think we were seeing some flashes there.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think that you can be really that thrilled about either of the last two draft classes, to be honest with you.
I mean, I think Overshown, if he can get healthy, saves quite a bit of that 2023 bunch. But just from a standpoint of you could get a really good playmaker. But in terms of depth, how many people from that draft class, you're not getting much. And then from this one, I mean, you got a starting center right now. I'm not saying Guyton's a bust or anything, but he hasn't shown you anything yet. And Neyland, to your point, KT, flashed, got hurt, and haven't seen anything since he's really gotten back. So really, you got a starting center and right now a linebacker who's missed 2 out of 3 years, maybe 2 out of his first 3 years. That's tough. Oh, Leofau, yes, Leofau, great. Yeah.
I mean, and
for a draft and develop program that doesn't do much in free agency, these last 2 drafts have not been enough.
That's there we go. Hey. There's the point. If we were playing around the horn right now, you would have got 10 points for that one. Like just all the points. Because you're right. If that's your MO and that's what you're going to do, and you're going to tell us that and then show us that with your actions, you better be hitting them. But all right, Eagles is who we have in Philly. The rare Cowboys game flexed out of a prime window at 3:25. No, not America's game of the week. Throw it in there. It's a nooner. So enjoy Joe Davis and Greg Olsen, true B-teamers. I think Olsen's great.
Yeah, he's
Joe Davis,
level.
Joe Davis is, whatever. I'm sure he's a great guy. He looks like he would be on Boardwalk Empire. He looks like a guy who tried to sneak alcohol into the country in the 1920s.
Fair.
But Joe Davis, predictions. And if there's anything else you guys want to hit, we can. Predictions, and we will need a side bold prediction. I'm going Eagles 24, Cowboys 17. And because, we still don't fully know if Jalen Hurts is going to play, I'm thinking the Cowboys can maybe hang around the rim of this game a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play, and I don't think they're going to need him to play. I will say Eagles 27, Cowboys 13. I don't think this is going to go very well. I think that the receiving core is going to look pretty bad. Just not only not having CeeDee to throw to, but not having CeeDee out there to command the attention that he gets. I don't think is going to be great against what has been a pretty good defense and some really good young defensive backs that the Eagles have there. I just don't think this is a good matchup for the Cowboys at all. And that's with Jalen Hurts or Kenny Pickett at quarterback. And so, and then the other part of it too, the only thing that could keep it low scoring is that kind of like today, the day that we had today in Dallas is pretty similar to what the game's going to be, like 50s, 60s, but just nonstop rain the entire time. So maybe that keeps the score lower and maybe they can go to a running clock in the second half or something. I don't know. But
wonderful.
Yeah, I don't like the Cowboys' chances here, even though they do play better on the road.
Saad?
Yeah, I have no faith in this CeeDee Lamb less offense, and Cooper Rush's kryptonite in his career has been the Philadelphia Eagles. He got off to a 4-0 start in 2022 and then lost to the Eagles. This year, I think had 23 attempts, I think 13 completions for 45 yards in the entire game. So I'm going to go Eagles 27, Cowboys 6. I don't think they score a touchdown. I think it's just going to be a couple of field goals. And I guess if I'm putting a bold prediction, I'll say Micah Parsons gets 3 sacks.
Okay.
I would say if the other prediction I would make on this game too is that what's been really good for the Cowboys as of late is them winning the turnover battle. I do not see that happen in this game. I think they lose the turnover battle 3-1.
And I also think that CeeDee Lamb, with his situation and the way that we've seen, I think it's the first domino also. I think that if Eric Kendricks is on the fence, I think he doesn't play. I think a lot of vets and players like that the team that aren't big enough where the team needs to announce on a Thursday, this guy's been ruled out. I think there's a lot of game decisions that we'll see where if it's close, that player might be out.
Kent, are you going to be the Lone Ranger?
Oh, man. Let's go. Cowboys 6, Eagles 9.
Oh, God.
Dude.
You're going to say
yes.
We have to fly all the way out to Philly to sit through a 9-6 game?
Give it to me. I'm sorry, guys. That would be fun. Let's admit.
Same.
It'd be incredible. We would always remember it. Like, it would suck for you guys while you're there. But then on the flight home, you'd be like, we did see some pretty good history today. We'll never forget that one. We'll remember this season.
Going for a record, I think. He's going to be running like a man possessed, I think, for the rest of the season.
The only thing
he's on the field, so.
The only thing I would feel satisfactory if I could see it in this game is a scoregami. I don't know what, but I would love to see a scoregami.
I can't believe we did not get one yesterday on Christmas Day with 31-2.
And the last team to do it was the Cowboys. They were the last.
Are you guys kind of surprised at like how much went into that Texans halftime show?
I'm not.
I just didn't think that they would do all of that for a non-even playoff game halftime show. Like I get it that if you're going to have Beyonce, obviously it's going to be a big show, but just how many people were involved, the dance numbers, the flying and the magic. I just didn't expect any of that like for a regular season game.
Well, it does put the system on trial that we've got set up where Jay-Z picks a halftime act and we have the big Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
It does put the system on trial, but $20 million for this big deal, Beyonce's going to go big because that's what she does.
When you think about
Kendrick Lamar, I'm like, what the hell?
You can only do first impressions once, right? And you think about how much was on the line with this broadcast for Netflix and the NFL. It had to be that big. It had to be Beyonce. It had to.
It had to be Shabuzi.
It had to stop down everybody on Christmas to watch it. And the numbers, came out today that it got 25 million eyes on Christmas, which this is just the beginning of Netflix and the NFL, and I think the rave reviews coming back is going to enforce that even harder.
My only complaint really from the games is just that we've just seen it time and time again with the Thursday night games. When you want good games, you got to give guys the normal rest, and to have these four teams, playing on 4 days, rest, that's not enough. And it led to two very lopsided games. It's just so many of those Thursday night games have been so bad. I mean, you go back to the one that stands out to me as being one of the best is that Lions-Packers one this year, and both of them had played on Thanksgiving the week before. So they had the normal week of rest. So you actually had good football being played. That's the only thing that going forward, it'd be nice is if you could get those four teams that are playing on Christmas. Well, then I said going forward, let me retract. Those 8 teams playing on Christmas going forward, that they get the proper rest, week before for obviously player safety, but then also it impacts the play on the field. And those were not competitive games.
I agree. The Chiefs have already come out and said they're resting all their guys in week 18 because they don't have to, do anything there.
Yeah, but fortunately, Christmas is going to be on Thursday next year.
Yeah.
So you can make it to where it's a Thursday to Thursday thing, and you get the proper 1 week rest. So
I truly, because it's interesting. This is taking over multiple different sports here. LeBron said, "Love the NFL, but this is our day," and I'm like, well, if it's the NFL's day too, it's not your day anymore. And I didn't like what the NFL did on the college football playoffs, having games on a Saturday. Now, it ended up being great because we needed some actual games because those games weren't good. But like, I do think like, hey man, on the 14th there was just Army Navy. Like we could do the NFL games on that day. No disrespect for the troops to the troops.
It
by the
sounds
way.
disrespectful.
Although the Air Force is my favorite. I will say I tweeted out. I don't know if you guys saw this. Now I'm being the guy that says, "Oh, I don't know if you guys saw my tweet." I don't like doing that, but I did tweet out like some predictions for the Beyonce halftime show.
Pretty good.
Did you see how good I did?
I saw you at Shabuzi. I mean, that's a win
And
for
Post
me.
Malone, and that she comes out riding a horse. Well,
No
that
way.
somehow
How'd you
broke
guess that?
That somehow broke the algorithm, and I had the Bayhive tweeting things at me like, quote, "Ho, is you magical? Are you a god?" I was called Nostradamus, and I was like, okay, dude, if I put out a tweet promoting this podcast, it will go to nobody. But if I correctly predict something or something involving Beyonce, now my tweet is seen by thousands.
Nice.
The algorithms are so whack. But and I'll just say this: Ho is magical.
Hey,
I am.
Hey, if you really want to do something to get the algorithms going in your favor, you should tweet out about how bad you thought that halftime show was, and see what happens to your Twitter following. And then if that didn't work, sprinkle on a little bit of how much you don't like Taylor Swift or something and think she's overrated, and then just see what happens to your Twitter mentions if you do such a thing like that.
KT, you were
can't
saying
handle that
on
idiot.
off the air how you were disappointed Jelly Roll didn't show up.
Yeah. What a bummer.
I
What a
was.
bummer.
Are you
No,
saying
KT
me or you
was.
guys were?
KT.
Oh yeah, no, he was probably sick.
I'm sure we have people in our audience who listen to that guy. I can't handle Portnoy. It's 101 how to get clicks. Like, I mean, if you
I was
got
disappointed he didn't make any of your top 100 songs. You had a lot of deep cuts on there.
I'm a deep cut guy, man.
You are.
All right, we'll catch up Sunday live from the city of brotherly love. Hopefully, you guys stop by Patty's Pub. Maybe swing by Abbott Elementary, water the garden for me. And those are some references to some TV shows that I love.
You're not going to talk about Scranton? Like, come on. What are we doing?
I mean, how close is Scranton to Philly?
Not close.
Not close, but it's
Not
still
that close,
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
But we're having a big Always Sunny Abbott Elementary crossover episode. They're bringing that back. We can still have good things. All right, is there anything else you want to get? Closing thoughts? Anything? Anybody got anything? They want to get off their chest here? Are we good?
I think I got everything off my chest.
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Kent's got a few things. Okay, we will
Watch the
talk.
skies.
Okay, eyes to the sky, of course. We'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Safe travels, and thank you all for listening. And continue to have happy holidays because it doesn't have to end. Just keep it going. For John, for Saad, for Kent, check them out on The Athletic. I am Kevin Turner, and we'll talk to you next time on the One Star Cowboys podcast.
That was when she was a Destiny Child.